to the Waterbury Board of Education workshop on this day, Thursday, November 4th, 2021 at 5:30 meeting. We will begin with a silent prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Dr. Ruffin, do we have anyone who wish to memorialize?
Not at this evening, Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ruffin. Okay, so silent prayer, please. All right, the Pledge of Allegiance, everyone. I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the
United States of America
and to the
republic for which it stands,
one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, so we will move to the public speaking. I want to recognize, before we do that, our student representative, if they are here. Florenza Omari, are you here, Florenza?
I'm here.
Okay, thank you and welcome. All right, we have, I believe, someone that wishes to address the board. I need a motion to suspend the regular order of business to hear from the public.
Motion to suspend the regular order of business to hear from the public.
Need a second. Thank you. Discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposition? Motion passes. Okay, go ahead, Carrie, our first speaker.
We have one public speaker, Michaela Barrett. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Michaela Barrett. My address is 2810 East Main Street, Waterbury, Connecticut. So good afternoon, fellow board members. Like I said, my name is Michaela Barrett. I'm a graduate from Kennedy High School, Waterbury resident, and youth organizer with race. I'm here today to once again speak of the importance of using funds from the American Rescue Plan to provide gender-neutral bathrooms for our Waterbury public school students. It is not enough to simply change Waterbury's policy in order to be in compliance with federal and state laws. We need Waterbury to follow through with actually placing at least one gender-neutral bathroom in all of our public schools. This will provide a safe and comfortable environment for all our students. $89 million is coming to Waterbury schools. Race is asking for at least $2 million to increase the safety, security, and feelings of wholeness for LGBTQIA+ students. In the past 24 hours, Race has collected narratives from students, former students, and community members on how gender-neutral bathrooms will improve the school environment. I would like to take the time to read a few to you. Jalen, a 15-year-old freshman from Kennedy, whose pronouns are she, they, said, "I believe that gender-neutral bathrooms will improve the school because it will create a comfortable environment for people who don't identify with one specific gender or don't feel comfortable being labeled a gender and might even make them feel safe." Deandra, an 18-year-old who graduated from Crossy in June, said, "Having gender-neutral bathrooms can create a better environment for the LGBTQI+ community. It'll make them feel more inclusive, like the school actually takes their feelings into consideration. Putting gender-neutral bathrooms will create a more inclusive environment." And lastly, Vanessa, a 15-year-old sophomore from Kennedy, whose pronouns are they, them, said, "It would make me feel more comfortable and more welcomed at school. Overall, it would make school a more comfortable environment." I will be emailing all of the narratives to you all. With these narratives, I hope you realize the importance of gender-neutral bathrooms and the positive impact that this can have on our students. I also ask you to put aside your personal beliefs and opinions and to not let them impact the lives of our LGBTQI+ students. All of our students matter, and they should all have the opportunity to learn in an environment that makes them feel accepted, whole, and comfortable. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. All right, that was our only speaker. So I will need a motion to return the regular order of business.
I motion to return to regular order of business.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion passes. Okay, so with that, we will move on to our first item, Committee on Curriculum Mr. Mike Harris requests approval for an agreement with Abbott Terrace Health Center, Inc. for Waterbury Career Academy High School Nurses Aid Program. Is Mr. Harris here?
Good evening, Commissioner or President Harvey. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
This is a renewal of a contract that our allied health students go to Abbott Terrace for extended care facility training. This is part of the program to obtain the student CNA license. We've been doing this with Abbott Terrace upwards of 4 or 5 years, and we are seeking approval to continue this training on their facility as required by the state.
All right. Very good. Are there any questions from the commissioners? Okay, I'm just checking to see anybody waving here. All right, I don't see anyone waving. Oh, okay, Commissioner Stengel.
Thank you. Mr. Harris, is Abbott Terrace the only one that is involved with this Nurses Aid program?
For us, Commissioner Stengel, they're the only ones we've worked with in the past when we've gone, because we go to the extended care facilities. I think in Waterbury, the only other facility that we had used previously at Crosby and Kennedy was the Cheshire House on East Main Street. But we've been with Abbott Terrace since we've started this, and the relationship, we've built a strong relationship with them. And actually, they are the ones who reached out, to get our students back in there sooner rather than later. So I know in the past, Cheshire House has been used, and the long-term facility, Commissioner Stengel, that sits right at the Bucks Hill, North Main. I forgot that facility, but I know when Wilby was doing it, we also had our Wilby students going there for their training.
Mm-hmm. Is there some kind of a program that Kennedy and Crosby used to use at St. Mary's Hospital, I believe it was? Is that different from what you're doing, or is it the same?
It's the same program, but the state has changed the requirements for the certification for the CNA, and they want the hours done in the extended care facilities as opposed to being in the hospitals. In the past, Waterbury Hospital, Kennedy, and Crosby utilized St. Mary's Hospital, but the way that I believe, Commissioner, and I'll get that clarified through Linda Richard, but the state has changed the requirements in terms of the certification. They want the clinical to be done in the extended care facility.
Mm-hmm. Okay, just one more quick question too, Mike. When these students go to Abbott Terrace, how are they transported?
The city, the mayor's office has provided Career Academy with a van that we use to transport the students daily. We leave here approximately 11:20 to get there for 11:30, and then they're back for dismissal. So that all the students are back and on the bus for the 1:50 departure.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there any other questions? All right, I don't see anyone waving. Okay, Mr. Harris, thank you very much.
Thank you. Everyone have a great night.
You too. Okay, so we will move on to item number 2, Committee on Finance request approval of a contract with Creative Recreation LLC for a playground installation at State Street School. And Michael, are you here?
Yes.
All right. All right, you have the floor.
Good evening all. So this is first of those things for me. So, pardon me if I misspeak, and I think Raj and Adareen are here to correct me if I say something wrong.
Okay.
But
Thank
we're
you.
seeking an approval for the State Street School for the new playground. Creative Recreation holds a city contract, and the funds used was the ESSR money. I think that's pretty much it. We're just seeking an approval of this project to renew the playground.
Okay, so it's to renew the playground. Okay. All right. Do the commissioners have any questions?
Commissioner, just to correct the record, it's a new playscape for State Street, and the funding is coming out of ARP ESSER.
Okay. All right.
It's a brand new playscape in the amount of $89,997.
Thank you.
Well,
All right. Any questions, commissioners? I don't see anyone. No? Okay, I guess we're all set. We will move on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
thank you.
All right. Okay, so we're moving on to item number 3, which is the Committee on Finance. This is a request approval to apply for the Connecticut State Department of Education, ARP, ESSER, Homeless Children and Youth Grant. Louise Brown and Mr. Swartz and Miss Harris. We got a whole, so you guys pick who's going first and explaining.
Oh, good evening, Vice President Harvey.
Good evening.
It's Louise, Commissioners and Dr. Ruffin. We're just here requesting permission from you to submit an application for this new grant that's just recently become available. It was only published days ago. It's an opportunity for funding through ARP and ESSER to further support our homeless children and youth with a grant in the amount of $473,000. And the kinds of support that are intended with this funding are listed on the second page of the grant highlights document. And those were prepared for us by Shania Paris, who's our liaison to students in transition. And she's here tonight if you have some questions about that.
She is here tonight if we have questions. Okay. All right. Any questions, commissioners? All right. Please just kind of wave your hand so I can, make sure I get to you. I don't see anyone waving their hands, so I think we will move on. If there are no questions, Louise, would you? Okay, so we'll move on to item number 4. That is okay. That's Linda Reddick Barron. This is the Committee on Finance. Louise, thank you very much. Committee on Finance requests approval of the 2021-2023 consolidated grant application. Linda Reddick Barron, if you would.
Good evening. You can hear me, right? Okay. So I'm here to give all 3 of my grants at one time this year. I have the Title I, Title IIA, and Title IV.
Okay.
With the Title I grant, we have a few additions this year with the additional money. We have additional tutors that will help support the loss of learning. We have more money that's going into family engagement because we were asked by the parent liaisons and some of the teachers if we can do some more training for teachers and parents to learn how to use Google and be more familiar with the platform for digital learning. We've added money for the after-school program, so we extended them. So instead of being abbreviated, we were able to extend them. And a lot of this is due to the fact that we have ESSER money, so our money was not as tight as it normally is. And we were able to support Linda Cross staff and have some funds for the turnaround school district for summer programs. For Title IIA, we were able to increase PD for the equity and recruitment. We were able to transfer some money to the Title III grant for the international school. And Adela was able to increase the ArcTel training and double the amount of teachers that she normally sends for ArcTel training. For the Title IV grant, we were able to add, since we have a new supervisor of technology and learning, teaching and learning, and a math secondary supervisor, who's not a new one, we had one before, but the extra funds were able to go to them so that they could support their needs for the Title IV grant.
Okay, that's it?
That's it.
Very good. Any questions, commissioners? Okay. I don't see anyone. All right, guess everyone's content with what what you're giving us here. So Linda, thank you very much and have a good evening.
You too, thank you.
All right. So we will move on to item number 5, Committee on Finance requests approval to apply for the Connecticut State of Education Individuals with Disabilities Act. grant for 2022. And I think it's Mr. Pavone. Are you there?
Yes, that is correct.
All right.
Thank you.
You have
Good
the floor.
evening. Good evening, Vice President Harvey, Commissioners, Dr. Ruffin. I want to make a slight correction to this because we learned today that this was posted as a request for approval, but it's actually more a wanted to inform you this grant application has opened for us. This is ARP funds that are coming to us through IDEA. And so the confusion there was that we typically ask for approval for IDEA grant. That is later in the year in May. However, because this is these are ESSER or ARP funds, it's really just informing you that we are applying for this. It's due on the 15th of this month. And if you can see here, the award amount for Waterbury is approximately 1.2 million, split into two sections. It follows basically the IDEA sections 611 and 619. The 611 is 121, and the 619 is 1.4. So that's really what this is about, and it's really just to inform you that we're going to be applying for that grant. Included in this is also, I believe, an attachment that it gives us an idea, gives you an idea of like how we plan to expend those funds, and so that's it. I just wanted to make sure that you all were aware that we were applying for that.
All right, and thank you for that clarification.
Yeah.
Commissioners, all right, Commissioners, any questions? All right, scanning. I don't see anyone waving. All right, so I think we're all set. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, so we'll move on to item number 6, Committee on Finance, 2021-2022 Quarterly Budget Report. And it says Doreen.
Thank you, Vice President Harvey. Good
Thank
evening,
you.
Commissioners, Dr. Ruffin. So this is the first time I'm presenting the 2021-2022 General Fund Operating Budget. We do it quarterly, usually in the beginning, between July and September, and then thereafter I'll be giving you a monthly report. In the beginning of the quarter, pretty much we don't even have much of certified staff hitting payroll until September. So most of the things that are happening during this time is there's a lot of encumbrances. So because we have a lot of contracts with busing, special education, so a lot of requisitions and purchase orders are created for that amount, and there's a lot of orders being put in at the school level. So it's mostly a lot more of the encumbrances at this point. But this this operating budget totaled $158,375,000.
Okay.
But as you know, we requested a lot more, but that's the amount that we receive, and we still have funding in the contingency lines at the 3.6 million. And we also have some funding in the Alliance grant that is really for operating costs. So I will keep you abreast throughout the year of the spending of the general fund budget.
Very good.
Anybody has any questions?
All right, are there any questions? All right, I don't see, hold on. Any questions? Doreen, I think we're all set.
All
No
right,
questions?
thank you very much.
Thank you, Doreen. Take care. All right, so we will move on to item number 7, Committee of the Whole, presentation on LEAP. And I will turn it over to our Assistant Superintendent, Ms. J. Gopi, Mrs. J. Gopi.
Thank you, Madam Vice President Harvey. Good evening, Commissioners and Dr. Ruffin. Quenisha Brown is currently the Family and Community Engagement Manager for the Waterbury Public Schools. In this role, she is coordinating and overseeing our family and community engagement and all of our parent liaisons. Quenisha received her bachelor's degree in social work from Western Connecticut State University and her master's degree from UConn. One of the projects under Quenisha's direction in our district is the LEAP program, and that stands for Learner Engagement and Attendance Program, and it is in partnership with CSDE. Under this direction, Quenisha helps us re-engage our students, K through 12, who struggle with absenteeism and disengagement. Currently, we have 8 schools that are participating in LEAP, and at this time, I'll turn it over to Quenisha to give an overview of the program and an update.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Skokie. Thank you, and good evening, everyone, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to discuss the Learner Engagement and Attendance Program, also known as LEAP. I'd also like to note that these slides have been sent prior to this presentation for your reference as well. Okay, next slide. Sorry, so the Waterbury Public Schools was awarded the LEAP grant. We began preparation of our team leaders and engagement specialists and implementation in June of 2021 within the district. The grant is expected to be expended by June 2022. However, the contract was extended until December 2023. Next slide, please. Currently, there were 7 schools that started out with the LEAP program: Crosby High School, Wilby, Westside Middle, Wallace Middle, Sprague, Washington, and Bucks Hill. And now we have an emerging team developing at Enlightenment as well. The schools were chosen as the pilot schools for the program due to data that was pulled from the 2020 to 2021 school year, which showed an increased need for interventions concerning chronically absent students. Each school has a team of 4 to 8 engagement specialists. The quantity of specialists is based on the number of students per school. Engagement specialists are certified and non-certified staff that are committed to completing phone calls and establishing appointments and implementing home visits to try to identify barriers as to why children are not getting to school on a consistent basis. Presently, we have 30 certified staff and 17 non-certified staff. And each school has a team leader that's overstaffed that conducts biweekly meetings with the team and meets with the city coordinator, myself, monthly to talk about trainings that are presented, as well as check-ins and updates. ACES, or Area Cooperative Educational Services, has partnered with the district in this endeavor. They help with our onboarding, training, stipends, and pay is associated with LEAP, all comes through ACES. Due to the pandemic, we understood that some families may not be comfortable having home visits in their home. So funding from this particular grant has been allocated for visits in the community. Small restaurants and even Zoom and Google Meet are used anyway to try to capture and engage our families. Each school has been able to identify their own set of barriers and understanding that every school is unique. So trying to meet those barriers and how we communicate with families. We've had some common themes. So we've been using swag items, planners, magnets, school pencils, anything to just remind parents to have children to attend school and to maintain connection and communication. And more swag items are slated to be obtained for representation of the district and LEAP. Next slide, please. To capture how home visits are done, we have electronic home visit logs that record every phone call and every home visit. Basically, the engagement specialists are asked to put the information into these electronic home visit logs. That's up-to-date information that's sent out. As of recent, currently we have over 500 interactions, whether through phone call or home visits that have been conducted. We have about 281 visits completed and 490 scheduling or follow-up phone calls have been made. All of this data is captured through ACES that actually gives us bi-weekly review of how we're doing and make sure we're able to look at any trends that we see as far as making sure that we're in communication with our families. Bilingual staff have also been hired in an effort to assist family as well.
Good.
I wanted to kind of talk about something that's unique about our district. With our feeder schools, we were able to notice that at one particular school between Washington and Westside, there was a family where we saw as a whole the students at Westside and Washington were not attending schools, attending school daily. So we were able to have engagement specialists from both schools going to try to target the families to see what the barriers could be. So there was a collaboration between both schools. It was decided from that situation that they were going to collaborate and community resources were referred and communication was established, resulting in the family being more proactive and assuring the children attended school daily. The program appears to be an emerging success in the district. A community resource guide was developed to try to assist families with tangible barriers such as food insecurity or mental health connections, medical needs, extracurricular activities and resources, and funding for after-school programs and before-school care has also been allocated to assist families experiencing childcare concerns, which could have been another barrier for attending school daily. And I believe those are all the slides I have for tonight, and I appreciate you giving your attention to the LEAP program here in the district.
All right, very good. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Could you guys take down the presentation if you would, please, so I can see everyone? Okay.
Yeah, I'm having a little technical difficulty. I lost the Zoom bar and pulls it off.
All right.
Sorry, apologize.
All right. Now, okay, so I can't see you guys. So does anyone have any questions? Just kind of yell out who you are and then go ahead and ask the question.
Commissioner Harvey, this is Commissioner Brown.
Go ahead, Commissioner Brown.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry for the technical difficulty. Thank you for the presentation. I really am excited about this program. Could you share with us what your what barriers you're seeing with the families, and if there's any connection with the violence that's going on in the community, and you know what you're just seeing?
So what we have been seeing, I haven't seen anything as far as the violence that's going on in the community, but more so the pandemic definitely played a part as far as, you know, the virtual learning and people not being able to connect to Wi-Fi, or understanding that, you know, with the pandemic going on for everyone going back to school in person, we have had families that have had some concerns about that. So making sure that we're able to address them, making sure that they're connected to Parent Square, as well as their teachers, and even getting the principals involved, who are more than likely the team leaders at the schools, to make sure that we're making that connection to them and trying to engage families the best way we can. We have noticed that transportation has been an issue, so we've been able to reach out to families as far as transportation. The city team leader, Shania Pierce as well. She's actually been on my right hand in this process as well. When we have families that are in the McKinney-Vento program, being able to target those families also and engage those families with LEAP. I haven't seen anything in our home visit laws mentioning anything about the violence, but more so transportation, connection to Wi-Fi, and then also the situation is concerning after school programming and after school care.
Okay. Commissioner Brown?
You know, I've heard about the transportation issue. We do have bus passes for students, and I think maybe we should consider getting free bus passes for adults if that's an issue, because I'm hearing it in the preschool program as well. So if it's transportation, I think it's something we should invest in to overcome these barriers.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I think there is money available, I think, to purchase bus passes. When I talked to Mr. Hunter, he said that the bus passes are for students, but not for adults. So a mother trying to get her children to preschool program is not eligible. So I'd like to see the district look into that.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Commissioner Brown, that's it? Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right.
Commissioner Harvey, I just have one additional comment I'd like to add. The community and resource guide that Quenisha referenced, that was provided to the 8 schools participating. Is a very extensive guide. When I took a look at that, I wanted to share with all the school administrators, elementary, middle, and high. And we shared it with NYRED and make sure all the school counselors have that as well. But it is a very good updated resource guide with all of our community providers and supports for our schools and their families and students.
Excellent. All right, if that's it. I don't see anyone waving their hand. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Brown.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Mrs. Gogi, I appreciate that. Okay. All right, so we will move on to item number 8, Committee of the Whole report on the October 1st enrollment. Mr. Zuda?
Yeah, I believe Dr. Ruffin's gonna go through this. What?
Okay, whoever has it.
No, I think you are, Will.
Oh, I am? Okay, I got a text.
I see.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
Just be short.
Not
Okay,
a
yes.
problem.
All right, let me share my screen again.
I like that short business. That's good.
All right. All right. Give me 1 second, please.
Sure.
So everybody can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So in your packet, you received the Waterbury Public Schools October 1st count, the 2020, October 1st, 2021. It pretty much is a breakdown by school, by grade level. You can see the enrollment in each grade level at each school, and it gives us a total at the bottom of 18,562 students enrolled in October 1st as of this year. That's an increase of 209 students from where we were last year.
Okay.
Also in your packets, you'll see an enrollment chart from 2011 to 2021. It kind of shows you our enrollment. The blue is the elementary, the red is the middle schools, and the green is the high school grade levels. So in 2011, our population was 18,062. As of October 1st, we were at 18,562. It was an increase of 500, but you also can see the fluctuation in enrollment. There was a steady increase over 2012, 2013, 2014. You had a positive 237. That's 7 there. It should be up here. I apologize for that. 177. Then we saw a short decrease and another increase, and then again a short increase, and then we started seeing a drop in our student enrollment, down 225, down 55, down 321, until this year we saw an uptick up to 209 of students.
Good.
Just having a little trouble here because this is hard. So doctor asked me to look at November 1st enrollment, see if there was much of an increase. So we looked back November 1st to see what the increase was from the October 1st count to the November 1st. So as you can see, our enrollment on November 1st of 2019 was 18,637. On October 1st of that year, we were at 18,674. That was a decrease of 37 students. In 2020, we were at 18,353. And then we went to 18,353 October to 18,366. That was an increase of 13 kids from October 1st to November 1st, but a 211 student decrease from the previous October 1st of 2019 to the November 1st, 2020. And if you look at November 1st, 2020 to November 1st, 2021, we saw an increase of 321 students at that same point in time from 1 year to the current year. From the October enrollment count that I just showed you, we were at 18,562 students. So we had an increase of 125 students from October 1st to November 1st. And as of this morning, we were at 18,702. So we were continuing to see more students coming into the district.
Okay.
And the last report in your packet is the ED06 racial balance report, and it kind of what we do here every year for the district for reporting purposes and to the state to kind of show us each school and the racial breakup of the students in each school over the categories. So currently, as of this year, our racial overall minority population is 87.74%. If I look back historically, 4 years ago we were at 83.31, and there's been a steady increase to 84.8 to 85.88 to where we are today to 87.74. That's just a quick summary. Anybody have any questions?
Okay. All right, commissioners, are there any questions? Okay, good, thank you. Are there any questions? All right, I don't see anyone. Okay. All right, well, it looks like there are no questions, and I will thank you. We will move on.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll move on to item number 9, Committee on Policy and Legislation. Request approval of a new policy, preschool special ed, number 61722, and that is Mr. Pavone.
Yes, good evening again, Madam Vice President and Commissioners and Dr. Ruffin. So this here is a request for approval of a new policy for preschool special education. In your packet, you would have received this. This is a policy we have not had before, and it was recommended by CABE. We've reviewed it. It was reviewed at the policy committee meeting. And basically, it's acknowledging our responsibility for ensuring that all resident preschool children with disabilities have the opportunity to participate in special programs and also access the general education curriculum to the extent possible. It also acknowledges that we have a transition process from preschool age children referred to from the Connecticut Birth to 3 system. The programs that we offer include co-taught classroom models, self-contained model, as well as itinerant service provider model. I won't go into details of all of those unless you would like me to. To be brief, the policy also talks about, it has some steps of administrative practices from locating and identifying children, making sure the parents understand the process, developing IEPs, appointing the right staffing and programs, providing transportation, as well as mandates to report to the state. The process also includes, obviously, the PPT team. They review all referrals, they conduct evaluations, and make recommendations for any child who is eligible. It is also determined that if the child is ineligible, for participation in a preschool special ed program, that the district would offer a list of school readiness sites to the parents that they can choose to enroll their children in a general education setting. And then lastly here, it talks about any child who does enter in the early childhood education program is administered a screening using validated assessment tools within 30 days of enrolling, and that's also used to identify their strengths, weaknesses in the areas of social emotional, communication, language, adaptive, motor, and cognitive skills. And then lastly, identified students or students who qualify for free and reduced lunch will not be charged tuition. That's it. That's the short story. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
All right. Let's see. I see Melissa Serrano O'Donnell. Go ahead.
Thank you. Hello, Mr. Pabon.
Hello.
How are you? So good, thank you. So you mean it's so we didn't have this in process already in for the special ed?
So this is a new policy, that is correct. Not my understanding is that we didn't have the policy. However, these are services that we have provided for many, many years.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, wait
Yeah.
a minute, my son. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's just
Only
a
the policy is new, not the services. The services have been in place for a long time.
All right, perfect. Now, as far as the tuition part,
yeah,
what if they do not qualify for free or reduced lunch, but they do have, they have special needs? Is there like a waiver or a grant that can allow the parents to have their child still participate in our special ed program if they can't afford the tuition? And how much is the tuition?
I can answer that, Miguel, if you
Yes, please do.
Okay, so
Jump in.
only because I've been entrenched in early childhood world, so you don't mind me stepping in. This is an interesting one. I knew this was going to come up, Commissioner Dono. So
I can't see you, Darren.
Oh, you can't see me. Oh no.
Oh, now I see you. Now I see you. There's so many squares. I'm sorry.
That's a good thing. So any students early childhood is really tricky in terms of the funding sources. Any student, and Doreen's here to I think help back me up here. Alliance grant students don't get charged any funding because it's fully funded through the Alliance grant. Any of our Title I preschool classrooms do not get charged because they're fully funded through Title I and other sources. School readiness classrooms, we get funding for students in school readiness. It never covers the cost of running that class, but we get help with that school readiness grant. And many of those classrooms, there's a mix of general ed, special ed students in many of those classrooms, specifically at Bucks Hill Preschool. Any student that's qualified for special education is not charged to attend that class. Any student who also meets the free and reduced qualifiers is not charged. There is a policy, and there's somebody on this call I'm sure is familiar with it, B01 from the fee schedule for school readiness grants that requires us to charge whether we want to or not. And I confirmed that again today. I'm like, because we do it for students that don't meet any of those qualifications, whether it's free or reduced lunch, if they're special needs. So there is a small number of students that don't fit either one of those bills that are in school readiness classrooms that students are charged. I can tell you that we charge, but we don't kick students out for not paying. Is the best way to explain that.
I love it. Thank you. Now, my only suggestion, and I don't know, Mr. Pabon or Darren, if you guys would know this. Obviously, I know preschools are mostly half days, but do you guys provide the families resources for home supports to continue besides the birth to 3? I know, but the birth to 3, once they're in preschool, that's it. So do you guys provide at least other community resources that they can contact to continue their child's education at home?
I can. You can take that on if you want.
Yeah, I can take that. And I just wanted to also say on the tuition piece, it does say that identified students, basically what Darren said, right? Like if they're identified or qualified, they don't get charged. To answer your question about students who are special needs, if they're special needs, they don't get charged. So just wanted to share that. That's part of what the policy. And then to answer your question about if there are other resources, absolutely. Our team of educators who work with these students, whether they're in the program, I mentioned the 3 models, the COTA, self-contained, itinerant. The itinerant is actual services, like we go to daycare sites where they are at and provide services. So that's one thing that we do. We don't go into the home. However, if there are further needs or additional needs, that's absolutely something that we can provide to the families. There's something that's not part of this policy, but I wanted to mention it. I think that Dr. Ruffin mentioned it at the last meeting. It's the new Sparkler app. It's that new screening tool that everybody has access to now. And that's a great tool to not only have parents kind of like gauge the development of their children, but I believe it also has resources for where they can access local supports. But even if that didn't exist, we have staff that can also do that for families.
I appreciate that, Mr. Pallone, because I got to say that wasn't when my child, he'll be 25 now. And it was just homework for me. I was studying every day. I had to learn stuff on my own. So I would hope that there'd be like a package or something that as soon as that child is entering our school district, whether they are entering at age 3, whether they're being diagnosed at age 12, that they get a package of outside resources. My son needed home supports, that extra supports, but I didn't know that. I had to figure that out on my own. So, and I wouldn't expect us to provide the home supports, but at least that we can give them, this is further information, whether their pediatrician would give to them. My pediatrician didn't have a lot either. So something that we can network with all our stakeholders. I know for like the ARC in Wallingford, the Autism Resource Center, they actually have kind of like a dictionary. I don't even know. It's some kind of resource phone numbers with all these different providers. Something similar to that effect. So if the families could at least have something, because some families would just kind of wait for the school to give them all the resources and not know that they have the right to get home supports and stuff like that. But thank you guys for the presentation and for the policy. I was a little confused. I'm like, wait, my son went through this. But thank you, Darren, for jumping in, and Mr. Pabon for your work.
You're
thank
welcome.
you. That'll be all, Miss.
That'll be Karen Harvey. Thank you. Liz, I see. Yes. Okay. Go ahead, Commissioner Brown. You're muted. Okay.
Oh, what happened?
I apologize if I'm going to be tinny. As Darren suggested, I just want people to know that the School Readiness Council does have a hardship policy and can waive the fee for school readiness, which is often done. But I would recommend that for our population that it should be waived, and we should think about that. The second thing, maybe we could reinvigorate the DPAC Council again. Karen, remember we used to have the, maybe you could talk about that so I won't be so tinny.
All right, so for Liz, we had, DPAC at a district level parent association, and I'm not sure, I think with the transition, Dr. Ruffin, excuse me for this, but the transition of the superintendent, DPAC for some reason was disbanded, but I would suggest, and Liz, if if you want to jump in here, that was an excellent from a district level, district parenting association that met where the parents could bounce off ideas, different things, and still responsible in their own schools, but the district level allowed them to kind of network and to see what else could be had. So that is definitely something, Liz, I think should be looked into, because that definitely enhanced parent engagement at the time, now family engagement. Is that okay,
Karen,
Liz?
if I just may add that I believe it's a requirement to have a DPAC council as part of Title I. But anyway, anyway, I think it's something that we should look at and reinvigorate. Probably COVID was difficult. Thank you.
Yep, and Liz, thank you, Liz. And also, I believe Linda Reddick Barron, because the Title I funds and all that, did oversee that in terms of funding, etc. So yeah, that's a good suggestion. All right, any other questions or comments before I let Mr. Schwartz and Mr. Pavone off the hook here? Okay, we will move on. Thank you very much, Mr. Schwartz and Mr. Pavone. Appreciate that. All right, so we will move on to item number 10, committee on policy and legislation. Again, this time, request approval for a new policy, transgender and gender non-conforming youth, number 514, 5145.53. Attorney Shaw and Commissioner Sweeney.
Good evening,
All right,
Vice
Attorney
President
Shaw, I
Harvey.
think you're, okay, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me, Vice President?
Yes.
Thank you. Good evening, Vice President Harvey, Board Commissioners, Dr. Ruffin. As Vice President Harvey just said, before you is a policy for transgender and gender nonconforming youth, policy number 5145.53. It is a new policy. It's modeled after a CABE policy that we have actually modified to address the specific needs of the Waterbury Public Schools. In, I believe it's 2018, former Governor Daniel Malloy issued Executive Order number 56, which directed the State Department of Education and the CHRO to develop policies that ensure civil rights protections for gender minority students. Along with the executive order, the state issued guidance and FAQs on certain civil rights protections that public schools should have in place for gender minority students. These are also consistent with protections afforded under Title IX and other various federal statutes. So, and as well as the guidance that's been issued under Title IX. And I know that it was circulated at the committee level, but we provided the State Department of Education published guidance and FAQs that had come out on these issues. And that helped inform some of the revisions that we made to the policy, the CABE model policy. This policy has gone, it's undergone committee review and multiple revisions, and it's before you tonight. It includes various components. I won't go through them all, but it includes definitions, certainly references interscholastic sports. It references the use of school facilities, including restrooms, which I know have been mentioned multiple times on these board meetings, as well as locker rooms and official district records, student records. So if there are any specific questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? Okay, comments? All right, I don't see, oh, wait a minute. Commissioner Brown, did you have? No? Okay, I see you waving your hands there, so I'm just checking. All right, questions, comments? Commissioner Stengel, I think your hand is up.
Yeah, yes, my hand is up, Vice President Harvey. I need to go at this again. I have spoken at length about my opinions and concerns on this policy in committee a couple of different times now, and I just want to, for the record, get it on the table again. Given my right to vote on this policy, I will vote in opposition of it. This is due in part to the restroom and locker room accessibility mandates language that are included in the policy. I am aware that the policy comes from the state and it came through CABE, and I know that lawyers have litigated the policy and the courts have upheld it. However, just because it's legal to me doesn't make it right. And just because they can doesn't mean they should. Our district, as we all know, advocates for equality for all, regardless of race, color, creed, or now we're going to say also included regardless of the transgender and non-gender and non-conforming gender. And I just want to make it clear that I believe in equality for all students to be whatever they want, to have the right to be called by anything they want, and to identify as anything they want. And I believe all this because this is the United States of America. Now, having said that, what I do believe, now I have to state what I don't believe. And I do not believe that a 17-year-old biological male, regardless of identity choices, has any business entering a female restroom or locker room occupied by 14-year-old females. Ever, never. I don't believe that any parent would accept that. And I also don't believe that any grandparent would support it, let alone understand it. So, as I have stated before in committee, this board and the superintendent must continue, and I believe that we will, to strategize and continue to find solutions to address this issue logically and responsibly. Gender neutral, single use, lockable restrooms would be a part of the solution. And I know that some work is being done to put that into effect. And once again, I believe that guidance and other counselors in our district could be helpful and part of the solution. One last thing, however, unfettered use of female restrooms or locker rooms by biological males must never be an option. And that is my opinion, is what I believe. And that's all I have for now. And I thank you very much.
Okay. Any additional questions, comments? No? Okay.
Melissa.
Oh, okay, Melissa, go ahead.
Thank you, Vice President Harvey. To Mr. Commissioner Stengel's point, this is a very sensitive topic, and it's one that I've always supported the LGBTQ plus community. I've brought it up many times, especially with the bathroom use. And I think it does require further discussions, community discussions, students, families. I will say that Attorney Shaw is following the laws and maybe even including the public health department, our nursing department. That's something that we have discussed in following the laws in regards to, the bathroom use. The law is that if you're transgender, you should be able to utilize the bathroom that you identify yourself as. I understand Commissioner Stengel's concern. And unfortunately, the law also states they have the right not to even inform us if they are trans or not even in the nurse's office. If they feel that they would like to disclose that information to us, that is something that we cannot let other staff know of that situation. I'm not saying we, but I mean in the nurse's office, that's where I was employed. So that's something that if the principal is aware, again, that's private information. It's not one to let other teachers know of that. They do have privilege to and the option to utilize the nurse's bathroom as an option. But also know that, and this is probably more information that we can gather from the nursing supervisors, not every nurse's office have multiple bathrooms. As such, they accommodate, other children, whether, they're diabetic or so have other medical needs. So we do have to have other options. I would not like to take away the use of the teachers' bathrooms because they already have limited restrooms as it is, and they're trying to go in between classes. And but I definitely would like to see a gender, doesn't matter. What was the word, Charles, that you used? Thank you. I can hear Mr. Popo. Inclusive bathroom with a private that anybody could go, but for any student, because you don't want to identify if someone sees a student going into this bathroom that people are going to start bullying, saying, oh, such and such person is using that bathroom, that must be in their trans. So we want to be very careful that doesn't require people making assumptions, being, start bullying because of that. So this is a very sensitive topic. They do have the right, and we have to really, the safety of all our students is our top priority. So I understand where Commissioner Stengel's concern is about having a male into a female locker. But this is why it's important whether we have a private locker, something that we can still give them their support in their private, area as well. So I just wanted to let you guys know, as far as the law that Attorney Shaw is following. And I get, Charles, your concerns 100%. So I think this is a conversation that we just definitely have to continue and involve, the public that it's affecting and see what solutions we can come up with. But I am happy that there is a policy out there so that can protect our district as well. Thank you. Thank you, Vice President.
Okay, any further comments? I don't see questions, comments, no.
Liz.
Commissioner Harvey, I
Liz?
have my
Okay,
hand
go
up.
ahead. Go ahead, Liz.
Okay, again, sorry for the echo. When does this policy go into effect?
Commissioner Brown, this would go into effect upon when it's passed.
Yeah.
And is there a lead time to have schools figure this out? Because I do think Commissioner Stango raised some issues, so we want to make sure it's implemented without, the whole place going upset. Because what if as a prank, a bunch of boys say, "Oh, I'm transgender, I'm going to go into the girls' locker." So I just think we have to carefully implement this and give
Yes.
people time to do it, because I do see some downside, although I'm totally in favor of the policy. So I think Commissioner Stango raised some issues that as Melissa just said, we need to continue discussing, because this, oh well, okay.
All set, Commissioner Brown? Okay, Commissioner Sweeney? Go ahead.
Thank you, Vice President Harvey, if I may. Now, Dr. Ruffin was available every step of the way with this policy as it went through the policy committee, as was Attorney Shaw. And Dr. Ruffin, you can back me up here or tell me if I'm wrong, but Dr. Ruffin is very committed to making sure that we come up with processes and standards for this policy to do the best we can in each of our schools, given the variety of schools that we have, the variety of buildings, our abilities in 100-year-old buildings to do the type of construction that might be needed, to put in a separate bathroom, but to identify safe spaces for all students in these cases. So I'm totally confident that Dr. Ruffin will do that, but maybe she would like to speak to that.
Dr. Ruffin, did you have anything to say regarding that?
Yes, Commissioner, thank you. I definitely am going to assure that we have professional learning for all of the adults, not only for on the school level, but central office, as well as for all of us to be able to understand the needs of our students. I am very certain that once this policy is adopted, we're going to move forward in making certain everyone understands how we're going to implement it. And we're going to put every measure possible to assure the safety and well-being of our students. Most importantly, meeting the needs for our students who really want and need to know that the policy allows them a safe place and a place to be recognized for the students that they've chosen to be. And I believe that we are going to be working on not only that, but also other very important equity issues across the district in a way that it's not going to be isolated, because we're not trying to isolate students. This is a need that's across our system, and recognizing that our students are really waiting for us to be able to make some things possible for them. This policy is just that, it's a policy. How it transfers into strategies and action is really going to be all encompassing, and we're committed to making certain that all of our students have what they need to be successful in schools.
Very good. Okay. Any additional comments before I make my comments here?
Vice
Okay.
President Harvey, if I may quickly,
Go ahead.
just so that the commissioners understand, this policy evolved because of the questions and the issues that were coming up at the school levels. And these were coming up daily, questions about locker room access, questions about restroom access. And we really got to the point where we were responding sort of as questions arose, and we realized we needed a policy from the board in order to be able to implement something that was uniform, and that provided rights and responsibilities so that everyone was had the same level of understanding as to what the legal landscape was, and the rest, again, we can fill in with our education and with our practice.
Very good. Okay. All right. And just quick comment here. As I stated in the committee meetings, etc., and we've had some very lengthy discussions at our committee meetings, that the issue which I stated from listening to students, there was webinars. Commissioner Brown was involved in one of the webinars, that our students are crying out regarding the bullying issue. If they go into a restroom, and what occurs in that restroom, the bullying, etc. And we have to look at that as well. All right. And I believe that there is, I think it's WAMS, that has non-gender restrooms. So, and that's our newer schools, I believe, that have that. So when we do this study, I think we're doing a facility study to see what's available there, but just to throw out that, the concerns that Commissioner Stengel brought up are very well taken, but also the issue of bullying has to be addressed. So I believe, in answer to your question also, Commissioner Brown, that this is why we're going over this at the workshop, and this will be, I believe, presented at our next regular meeting for a vote. If I'm incorrect, Commissioner Sweeney, you can correct me, but that we will vote on this policy at our next meeting. So I just wanted to make sure that that bullying aspect was also brought up in our consideration. Okay, so I don't see anyone. Oh, Commissioner Nardozzi, go ahead.
Thank you, Vice President Harvey.
Sure.
My concern that I brought up at this committee meeting about the legal liability for the district if something were to happen. The point was made that there's supervision, teachers or administrators that supervise the locker rooms. If that was occurring, we wouldn't be having bullying incidents in the bathrooms and the locker rooms. So it's just a point that needs to be addressed. Issues have happened in other states where a transgender student sexually assaulted a female student on two different occasions in Virginia. It's just a point that needs to be brought up, and the rest of the board should hear about that, about the lack of supervision that goes on. How can you supervise a locker room where they're already busy enough? So it's just a concern of mine. I agree that we need to have the independent bathrooms. I have them on a college campus where I work. They're all over the place. So anybody can use them. It's something that's a necessity, but the legal liability it still is a concern. If something were to happen, there's always potential for something to happen. So.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Nardozzi. Any other comments? Commissioner Brown. Commissioner, go ahead. No? Okay. I see your hand. That's why, I'm drawn to your little square there. All right. If there's no other comments, just checking real quick. Okay. Thank you very much for the discussion, and we'll move on. If there's no further comments or questions, we will move on to item 11, which is the superintendent's update. Dr. Ruffin, you have the floor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good evening, everyone. Our comments tonight are going to be very brief, but they will expand to include a number of community forums and webinars that I plan on having in November and December, so that I could share with teachers, staff, parents, and students the status of the district. It's going to probably include many of your concerns tonight, and some opportunities and some strategies that we're using across the district. In addition, it will also give the most recent update on where we are with ESSER. And it will also be specific into what we know so far about our facility study. Although our facility study is not complete, it will not be complete for several months now. That does not mean that work in the district has ceased. It just means the greater bulk of what we anticipate we may need to have will be broken down at the end of that study, which will allow the school board and myself to be able to put together a short-term, mid-term, and a very long-term project of events and operations that will need to take place. I will give the most recent or the most up-to-date status of the district when I do have those webinars and community forums in November and December, and I will notify everyone in advance that you could plan accordingly and make advanced plans to attend so that you don't miss the most recent information about the district. That's all I have for my superintendent's update now. When I do have those webinars and do have the community forum, it will be all inclusive. And I anticipate that we're going to be able to get some questions so that we can respond specifically to questions that parents and our teachers and staff, as well as our students, have up to date. That's all I have for this evening.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Ruffin. Any questions or comments? No? Okay, you guys are quiet tonight. Goodness. Okay, thank you, Dr. Ruffin. Appreciate that. We will move on to items number 12 and 13. Mr. Zuda, move on to 11, which is use of facility by school organizations and city departments, and 13 is use of school facilities by outside organizations or waivers. You have the floor, Mr. Zuda.
Thank you, Vice President. Good evening, Vice President Harvey, Commissioners, Dr. Ruffin. With the approval of the Committee on School Facilities and Grounds, Superintendent of Schools recommends the use of school facilities at no charge by the following school organizations and or city departments. Park Department for the Kennedy Pool, Lee Richard, who is the Health Department for blood drive, WCEA, which is the White Collar Union Rotella CAF, and UPSU for Rotella CAF.
Okay. That's it, Mr. Zuda? Or you got
number 13.
Okay.
I'll just move on. There are no questions on number 12.
I didn't
With the approval of the Committee on School Facilities and Grounds, the Superintendent of Schools recommends the approval of the use of school facilities by groups and organizations subject to the fees and insurance as required. We have the Holy Cross High School Gym, the Kennedy Pool, Nonowac High School that wants to use the Kennedy Pool, Ticket to Broadway wants to use Rotella Auditorium CAF, and Dancers Incorporated would like to use the Rotella Auditorium CAF. Requesting waivers are Knights of Lithuania, St. Joseph's Gym, K Tana or Waterbury, the Kennedy Auditorium, and OLMC School, Tinker Gym on Saturdays. Groups that are not subject to these fees or waivers are the Ecclesia Global Worship Assembly, the Kennedy Parking Lot on Saturday, November 20th, St. Joseph's Parish, St. Joe's Gym on Sunday, OLMC School, Tinker Gym, and Catholic Academy, the Gilmartin Gym. Any questions?
All right, any questions? Comments? All right, hold on. Okay, Commissioner Hernandez? Yeah, I can see your name has been abbreviated here. Commissioner Hernandez, go ahead. Sorry about that.
What was you did it, I couldn't get it, the initials, but what was oh God, I can't even remember. See, you went so fast.
Which one was it? From 12 to 13?
13.
Okay.
Our Lady of Mount Carmel?
No.
There were the initials, yeah.
OL.
Yeah.
That's the Our Lady of Mount. Yeah.
That's who?
Mount Carmel, Our Lady of Mount Carmel.
Oh, okay. Don't be abbreviating. All right.
Any other comments, Commissioner Hernandez?
No, that's it. I just couldn't. Okay. I was like, who is that?
Just want to make sure you get all your comments out. You're good. All right. All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. I think we are okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Zuda.
Thank you.
All right, so we move on to superintendent's notification. Any questions or comments? Regarding there's a lot of them. Superintendent's notification, I don't see anything. Anyone waving their hand? All right, so with that, I need a motion to go into executive session. Commissioner Sweeney?
Motion to convene an executive session for discussion concerning the appointment, employment, performance, evaluation, health, or dismissal of a public officer or employee.
Second.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for the second. Discussion. Okay, and who is coming in? We didn't.
That's going to be Attorney Shaw, Mr. Schwartz, Mr. Pavone.
Okay.
And,
Schwartz, Pavone.
Yeah, yes. And, and I believe, I think that's all that will be in the session.
All right. Okay, so let's vote on it. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposition? All right, motion passes. We will go into executive session.
Okay, when you come back from executive session, you're going to be adjourning immediately, correct?
Yes.
So everyone
Yes, we will.
basically, you don't need to hop back on.
Gotcha.
All the non-commissioners.
Okay. Goodbye, all the non-commissioners. Have a good evening, non-commissioners. Okay, Will Zuda.
Will, can you put both of my squares in the executive session?
Yes.
Thank you, because I am about ready to have to pick up a child soon, so I'll.
Thank you. I need a motion to return to the regular order of business. Attorney
I motion to return from executive session to the regular order of business. No votes were taken.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? The motion passes. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you very much. Any discussion over this?
Yes, no.
No,
Okay.
there's no discussion on
All those in
adjourn.
favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposition? Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you very much. All right, good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.